And RMC, walk me through this because we've got Vali, Lychee, Fox, Galayusi, who is not Gumayusi, and we've also got a somewhat familiar name, Saknam, in the support role.
Yeah, Saknam, I think we know him more as a top lane player. So interesting to see him actually substituting here in the support role. But I kind of like it because you're paired with Galayushi, who might not be Gumayushi, but might as well be here within CLOL. This guy is absolutely cracked, insane. He likes his Dravens, his Samiras, his Nilas, these lane-dominant champions. And when you've got a player like that, you've got to pair him with somebody mechanical. So Saknam kind of just role-swapping down there to enable this. And Valley has done really well on the top side as well, is another big carry. And when I look at Purdue Gold, it's more about the side lanes that I consider really big threats. While Fox enables all of these players by playing whatever the team needs from him.
Well, speaking of big bottom lane threats, we move on to the Indiana University Hoosiers here, who in the top lane is High Prince, in the jungle, Iyama, in the mid lane, Sleep, Loki, Dosi, and Hiccup rounding out that bottom lane duo. And you talked about big carry threats. Well, Loki, Dosi, and Hiccup are no strangers to putting the team on their back.
No, and actually, both these teams, Purdue Gold and Indiana University Hoosiers, they both hail from the same division, Champions Central A. So they've actually played each other in the regular division, or regular season, pardon me, and Loki, Dosi, and Hiccup actually beat out Galayushi and Saknam the last time they met as well. So as much as Galayushi likes those lane-dominant champions,
Twisted Fate, Victor, as we get into the draft here, do you think any of these are going to be contested at all, or is it kind of just more along the lines of, hey, I'll trade you one and we'll do the other, and we'll just kind of ping-pong mid lane back and forth between each other?
And let's not forget, Azir is back and re-enabled, Shivi, that champion who we've seen way too much of. You know, you've listed so many different mid lane champions. I do think there's enough that you can kind of handshake and decide, like, hey, you know, you get one, I get one in the mid lane, compared to the bot lane where it's pretty much Jinx, Aphelios, Seri right now. So I still think the priority will be in the AD carry role. For now, though, Shivi, Hui is removed, and I'm sorry to tell you, in the Hoosiers, Hiccup pretty much only plays enchanters. So we're likely to see an enchanter, unless Purdue go like kind of triple enchanter bans. Even then, I'm sure there are options. For now, though, Lulu taken off the board by Purdue.
Ooh, and the Blitzcrank being removed as well. An interesting pick, specifically because Hiccup, like you said, plays, a lot of those enchanters, so that Blitzcrank can run amok. But there are other hook champions on the board: Nautilus, Thresh. You could even have Rel, who's heavy engaged. But they're going to kind of spread the bans out here. And for the Hoosiers, who are on that blue side, is it almost guaranteed for them to just lock in the B180 carry? Like, is there nothing else on this patch that's B1able right now, especially on patch 14.7 with all the changes coming through?
I mean, technically, you could still go for Varus who wants skilling, Zeri and Aphelios are options as well. Or, because both these bot lanes are so lane dominant, we might still see the things like the Kalista, the Lucian still being incredibly high prio. Nami got buffed as well, which indirectly always makes Lucian feel better. So that could be a priority matchup. Lilia actually being banned out. That's a champion that Lychee plays a lot in solo queue, but we've actually not seen him play here in the NECC.
Oh, and right on the money,
okay,
the Varus coming in for the Hoosiers here. And this champion is so diverse. It's so good. I feel like it's impossible to kind of move him out of that bot lane. You can go the lethal tempo, the on-hit Varus that we've seen, or you can opt in for lethality. But right on the money, RMC, the Jinx gets locked in. Do we just see the support pairing before potentially Saknam's champion pool might get pinched out a little bit, as we do see the Volibear? Typically, you want to pair up the Jinx with the Enchanter's support, no?
Usually you do. I mean, after all, it enables her to do so much, but you can kind of wait to see what else wants to come through. Volibear did get a tiny nerf this patch in regards to how frequently his ult is available. The cooldown kind of got increased a little bit, but he's still an incredibly strong ganker. And when you do play a Jinx, Shivi, you do need a bit of a bridge to get to that late game. Static Shiv gotten nerfed this patch, so it doesn't wave clear quite as well. And that means AD carries do actually need somebody else to help bridge them instead of just building the building Static Shiv and just wave clearing 24/7.
Ooh, and this Xin Zhao coming in from the Hoosiers is going to run some quite much needed interference, right? The ultimate, the Crescent Guard coming in, allowing you to kind of dissuade some of the reset potential. But I was going to touch on this. What are they going to pair up, right? The Jinx with another reset champion. Now you've got to get some lockdown in, right? Enable this Jinx, enable this Ahri to start resetting across the map. What do you think Purdue can kind of round their comp out as we get into the final phase of bans?
Well, they've already got decent engage with the Volibear, and I really like the pairing with the Ahri as well. They are looking for most likely top and support, or potentially jungle and support, because Volibear can be flexed around here. I would like to see the Enchanter you're kind of mentioning, Shibby, not just as something that pairs well with the Jinx, but also as something to just deny away from the side of Hiccup. And for the side of Indiana, it's worth noting as well, they've already got the Karma lock. That can be flexed to support as well. Karma Varus is in a very annoying lane to deal with, especially for something like a Jinx, where you can just kind of outpoke her. She doesn't have innate sustain. She will struggle to deal with the push that comes through as well.
I mean, the question is, how sure are we that this Karma is going to the bot lane? I know she got some changes.
Not at all.
She's been kind of getting tapped down ever so slowly. I feel like you can still flex her into that mid lane. I want to know if Indiana is going to opt in to just kind of lock in a top laner here as the Braum actually gets placed in. So some much needed security. In the event that it's a potential poke Varus or even the on-hit, the Braum shield provides so much safety into the Montracus, into the Varus. We are going to see the Aatrox being blinded now. So they are going to have top lane counterpick for Purdue here.
And we're still waiting to see if that Karma is going to be flexed mid or into the support role, Shibby. Because it is an Enchanter, it is in Hiccup sort of champion pool. The Vigar coming through from sleep. Okay. I appreciate that. I actually really like Vigar personally. Pity Orbital is not here because that's one of his favorite champions as well to come through.
I know.
And I like it into the Ahri specifically as well. I mean, sure, the baby cage can be a bit difficult to land on the Ahri, but the R just makes it so easy to pop her if she takes any sort of damage to come through. It surprises me as well that we do see Purdue actually opt for the Yone into the top lane. It's great into the Aatrox, don't get me wrong. So it's a great counter matchup, but into the likes of Vigar, I've seen a lot of Yones just run head first in the baby cage trying to find those initiates, and then next thing you know, you're dead before you get any of your teamfight damage off.
Yeah, that Event Horizon can really run interference. I feel like Indiana has a pretty solid composition to kind of stop the movement, stop the momentum that Purdue Gold is trying to mount here. But Summoners, we are on to Summoners Rift here. We've got Indiana University Hoosiers versus Purdue Gold. I am Shibby, your play-by-play here with RMC. For anybody that's just joining us, and RMC, should we see any shenanigans here? Typically, when I think of Braum, I think of Invade. That's my brain.
Yeah, no, that's 100% fair, Shibby. Braum is one of the strongest level 1 invaders or strongest level 1 champions in general. The fact that a lot of his basic abilities are really high base numbers, plus the fact that his passive, basically, you don't require an ability to have a stun, makes him really strong on the invade or the counter invade. But I think Purdue as a whole don't want to invade necessarily. The rest of their composition is not great for it. Ahri usually needs a couple of levels. Ideally, you need at least 2 skills. To Charm is good, but not a lot of damage. Yone and Jinx need time to scale. So if anybody wants to do level 1 shenanigans, it should be the Hoosiers.
So we do see Volibear checking out here. Lychee doing a good job just trying to get some vision. Montracus coming out, and Hiccup just trading the damage back and forth. Not going to be too relevant, I think. Lychee on the Volibear, very healthy clear, and I think the cool thing is that, you know, how fast his clear speed is depending on how you optimized it, right?
Yeah, I'm actually really curious to see how quickly Lychee can go here. Xin Zhao has a pretty fast initial clear, but he's not known as a farmer, so you kind of want to go for ganks, but so does Volibear. So I'm very curious to see if Lychee kind of just opts the full clear and try and outspeed the Xin Zhao, or whether you just try and match these ganks, which I expect to see coming through from Yama. Personal pet peeve is when I see Xin Zhao's and J4s just kind of full clear without ganking. That's really not the most efficient way with these particular junglers.
Yeah, and you talked about this early pain that the Purdue bot lane is going to face here. Karma Varus, probably the premier poke lane right now in the meta, right? Used to be Ezreal Varus, or sorry, Ezreal Karma. And now it's kind of swapped over, and it's kind of rough to play in. But I do want to pick your brain about that top lane matchup a little bit. You talked about the Yone having a favorable matchup into the Aatrox. Is there anything Aatrox can do later on? Is he just going to have to team fight with his team? Does he win side lane eventually? Because I feel like when you pick Aatrox, you pick it for being lane dominant. You pick it for that really heavy trading.
Yeah, and especially with the lethality Aatrox that we've seen become the predominant build. Yeah, you're expected to kind of just one-shot your opponents or at least burst them down very, very quickly. Now, the Yone, the reason why Yone is so good into Aatrox is actually because of his mobility. Aatrox gets big bursts of damage when you can nail somebody within the sweet spot of your skills, Yone makes that really, really hard. So Aatrox can still actually win out in the early game before Yone skills up, before Yone can actually start to win trades. As the game goes on though, Shibby, it really is all about the Yone. If Yone loses that matchup post 2 items, that's on Valley. That's less than High Prince trying to play it perfectly. So for High Prince, I expect to see the early pressure come down. If that doesn't work out, then I think you start having to rotate towards team fights with this Aatrox for the Hoosiers. You probably won't win the split push, but you could also still look for picks, right? Like your Veigar scales incredibly well, and Yone isn't his brother Yasuo. There's no win wall to save him from a Veigar pressing R. There is no counterplay there.
Yeah, and right now, both junglers, like you said, starting on opposite sides. The clear advantage, obviously, going over to Lychee on that volley bear, and taking a look at the runes and summoner spells, nothing too out of the ordinary, in my opinion. You do have the Ignite onto Saknam, as Lychee is going to maybe fancy himself a gank. Well, the minions are just going to push, and Amended is completely fine.
Yeah, that's actually funny that Fox kind of just pushed out right there. I was right with you. Should be thinking we'd see a gank. Oftentimes, Flash Bearer ganks are literally unstoppable. Yama trying to answer back, and with the push between... Oh, this is doable. Very doable.
Wind becomes lightning. Onto the E. Jinx flashes here, and the kill goes over to the Karma. A well-executed dive from the Hoosiers nets the kill, and they're not done. Saknam is going to be the apple of their eye. He's going to get the Winds become lightning onto them. Going to E onto them. Lychee's here with the Q, with the E. Then he's going to trade the kill back. Hiccup and Loki Dosi just firing away right now. Hail of arrows is not enough. The TP comes in from Fox to stave off any more aggression. Hiccup takes a tower shot. Is Loki going to be able to get it with the piercing arrow? The flash from Lychee dodges it out, but overall the Hoosiers come up with a net positive play.
Yeah, and Shippy, we were talking about this, the fact that this bot side could be so volatile. It wasn't necessarily just a 2v2. I love the fact that Yama correctly identified that, hey, let's get some pressure down in the bot side. That winning lane for us, the lane that has historically taken over games. And you were talking, Shippy, about what Volbear can build, the different builds he can go. Well, one thing he didn't go was tank. And so Lychee was very, very squishy when it actually came down to that 2v1.
Oh, and now... gonna look to potentially get onto Valley. Wind become lightning does miss here. Yama is just on a ganking spree right now, and this is what you want to do with the Xin Zhao, right? You don't want to farm. You don't want to get into a clear war. You want to try to gank. You want to try to impact lanes. And you want to try to have your presence known, as the dragon is going to be traded for the grubs here. And RMC, I have yet to really pick your brain about this, as the Foxfire Dash come into here, ulting from the Ahri. Fox is going to get rooted up. Hail of Arrows comes out to 2v4. Hiccup and Loki Dosi are really just fancying themselves a fight, and the piercing arrow pierces through Fox as Lychee's trying to get something back. In a 2v4 situation, they're able to turn it on its head.
What on earth? You gank Loki Dosi once and he will repay you in spades. As you said, 2v4, and huge props to Hiccup as well. Kind of just body blocking a little bit, saying that, hey, you want to get past me to get to Loki Dosi? Yeah, you have to, and I still have my flash, so I'm okay to kind of stall and buy space. Huge props to them. And for Purdue, good that they got the dragon. Not so good that they've started to fall behind a little bit on the spot side.
Yeah, you can't afford to die like that if you are the Ahri, right? Giving Veigar a free lane uncontested right now, just letting him kind of farm minions, stack up his ability power. He's going to be a menace later on. I feel like Fox and Lychee have kind of paid for the sins of their bottom lane a little bit, right? They haven't been able to really get the upper hand, as the Mantra W does come out here. Lychee is on the way through river. Loki Dosi and Hiccup have not spotted him out. Ignite comes down. Winter's Bite misses flash from Hiccup. Loki Dosi trying to get one more. Lethal Tempo in the face of 3. He'll get another one. Loki Dosi has balls of steel.
And Fox is coming to try and find Hiccup as well. They won't be able to find that. Yeah, should be. Loki Dosi right now is terrifying. Every time you're ganking him, the question is, can you survive it? And Valley now getting ganked, still has flash.
World Ender is popped. E comes down from Yama. Winds become lightning. Does not hit. And Valley, without having to expend the flash, using to Q3, is able to get out. But with all that investment into the bottom side, I feel like Lychee's actually falling behind, at least in the XP, at least in the momentum, right? Like, realistically, Loki Dosi's 3-1 on an on-hit Varus.
Yeah, and Lychee did manage to pick up 2 kills, so good for him. But yeah, as you mentioned, that's completely right. Lychee isn't quite able to snowball quite the same way as that Varus, and it's also freeing up Yama to get some ganks down. It hasn't paid off. Valley has done a great job surviving all the pressure, but at the same time, because Loki Dosi has done so much, That's why Yama isn't falling behind. That's why High Prince is still okay to receive all that pressure. And Lokidosi, Hiccup, the two of them are still pushing in, still getting pressure, still saying, hey, come dive us.
And Saknam with an interesting support roam to the top side to help out Valley in this lane, because he knows if he stays, Yama and High Prince will just fancy themselves a dive. Like they don't mind. They'll give 1 for 1 if they absolutely have to here. But with Galayusi on the bottom lane by himself, Lychee then has to provide that support to relieve some of that pressure. And it feels like Lychee is being, pulled from mid lane to bottom lane. I don't really think he's been allowed to kind of play his own game.
No, not at all. I mean, even you look at the top side, it's all coming up for Lychee right now. There's a lot of sort of camps for him that he's going to want to pick up, and that does mean that Lychee has to go top side. Galayushi and Saknam have to be careful now in this bot lane. They will not have coverage for the next little while. And my question now is where Yama wants to go. I think you spent a lot of time topside. It's kind of the reverse situation. I'd love to see Yama actually come to this bot lane a little bit because it's so easy to pick up kills down here. The dive with the Xin Zhao at level 6 is very, very strong.
Yeah, that Crescent Guard is going to do wonders in negating a lot of that damage. And typically you think of dives, you think of the Volley Bear, right? You think of the Stormbringer, you think of that big ultimate that can turn the turrets off and really allow you to kind of flex your muscles. But in reality, it feels like all of Purdue has just kind of been shoved in. They haven't really been able to find any opportunities. And with this, Lokidosi have picked up their 3rd turret plate on top of all the gold and the kills. Like, they are running this lane. This Varus Karma poke is absolutely relentless.
Yeah, and I'm not even looking at the turret right now. I'm looking at Galayushi and Saknam's health. That is going down so incredibly quickly. We saw this before. Even if you see Yama, what are you going to do about it?
Yama's going to come down here. He's going to use the wind becomes lightning. Zap comes out, but it doesn't matter. The hail of arrows plus the Q3 double kill for Yama, and there's not much you can do in that situation. Galayusi and Saknam were up a river with no paddle. As now the ultimate comes out from the Yone. They're going to get the gank onto High Prince, and they're trying to kill him down. The World Ender does come out, but they get the kill. They take down High Prince. A consolation prize at best, right, RMC?
Oh, 100%. I don't even know if that's necessarily a consolation prize, Shibby. It just feels like, okay, we're able to get this. Now, you are going to get plates as well, so it is good for Purdue that they've managed to find that, and shutting down an Aatrox is good. My concern is what's happening in the bot lane, right? Like, how much longer is that turret? Okay, I was going to ask how much longer it stands. Not at all. And then because it goes down, you're re-gankable.
Oh. Yeah, and Galayusi, Flash Wind becomes lightning onto the Q1. They're going to have to force the Flash away from the Summoner spells. The Unbreakable doing its job finally, blocking some of that poke, some of that damage, the Piercing Arrow and Mantra Q. But Galayusi does not come out unscathed. The moment his Summoners came back up, he's used them again. I don't think he's had Flash or Ghost at all this game.
No, and I'm going to be honest, Shibi, I didn't expect this to be the result when we saw the Varus and the Jinx being picked up. Jinx with her range often can farm quite safely. I don't know if Purdue want this.
Ari ultimate does come out here. Lokidosi is trapped in the pit right now. Big ultimate, and now Lychee comes in with the Stormbringer. Is effective HP. The Event Horizon does come out. They're able to take him down with the Primordial Burst, and now Fox is going back in. Flash is out. Unbreakable's coming out. They're trying to get something here, but I think it's too little too late. Lethal Tempo Varus is going to fire away into the whole team, and Lokidosi and Yama turn a 4v3 into a 4 for nothing.
Shibby, they got something all right. They got the sharp, pointy end of a spear. And Yama, I love the fact that had no fear. He was low and just said, okay, it doesn't matter if I'm low. We clean you up anyways. A 3 for 1 on Dragon, or is that a 4 for 1? It's just not worth it for Purdue, unfortunately. That's only the second Drake of the game. And Indiana Hoosiers with a, what is that, a 3,500 goal lead? Shibby, it feels like they're starting to take over this game. And if that Dragon, you got lucky. You have to sacrifice your entire team for it. At third Drake, you don't get to even do that. I expect Hoosiers to just wipe you on your way in.
Yeah, look at the sole strongest member in the game right now, Lokidosi, 6,000 gold. I mean, he is so far ahead of anybody on Purdue gold side. Realistically, it's Valley, and that's it, right? Lychee has a small gold lead, but Yama can function off a little gold as the wind becomes lightning, does come in. Let's see if we can get the Q knock up here. They're going to not tempt the dive, as they do suspect a couple members of Purdue gold are coming up to help him out here, but that pressure, that ability to not lane safely is now.
Oh my goodness.
He's going to come in, and I don't know if you go for this 3v3, you get the TP out for sure, so that's a much needed boost for Indiana right now, right? Who want to take over potentially this Herald that's coming up in about a minute. Having that TP down forces Valley to stay in the lane regardless of what happens. And Hiccup has opted in for a more supportive Karma build. Typically, you'll see the Malignance rush, but in this case, we see the Imperial Mandate. Are you a fan of the more support Karma build, or do you still like them to rush Malignance even in the support role?
I mean, considering Loki Dosi is on hit Varus, I actually like the support build a little bit more. And you're already dominating this without the Malignance. The Malignance would just be icing on the cake. We're seeing Lychee and Fox actually being pulled up to this top lane right now. The pressure Loki Dosi and Hiccup are putting down is absolutely insane. And here's the thing too, Shibi, even with all that, I still don't see the threat, the kill threat. Valley uses the ultimate, forces the flash, but that won't be up for a Herald fight.
Yeah, Fate Seal does get used here, but that's a big ultimate cooldown, and with the way Loki Dosi has been playing, I don't even know if he really needs the flash, right? He's been opting into Ghost forward and flash forward, like he doesn't care about his life, and I think that's the best way to play AD carry, as Yama is waiting in the bush right now. Lychee is here. This 3v3 isn't as one-sided as you think, as now Fox is going to come in. The ultimate coming out from Braum, not really doing too much. Another key ability used prior to this Herald. Indiana, just through sheer resources, should be able to pick this up easy peasy, right?
Yeah, and should be because of the way the compositions operate as well. Hoosiers didn't really draft a poke comp necessarily, but their bot lane has a lot of built-in poke, and that means all these attempts at committing from Purdue, every time you screw up, you're going to pay the price. Look at the damage they're answering back. And because they attempted this play so early as well, at around the 13-minute mark, Herald spawns, or has just spawned. But you already took all that poke without actually getting anything in return. And now you won't be available for that objective. And I fear that this will happen at all the objectives. Purdue needs to pick their timings better.
Yeah, it feels like they kind of have a pick comp, but they kind of want to team fight you at the same time. Like they want to reset, but they don't have the damage. They don't have the really lockdown potential like you mentioned, right? Like Volibear, Q flash, and that's it. Right? Like maybe you can follow it up with a Fate Sealed, but realistically, Fox has to hit a Charm. Saknam has to hit a Winter's Bite, right? They have to get concussive onto somebody to really lock somebody down. And Loki on this on-hit Varus with Lethal Tempo is shooting at you from a mile away. Amended with the Event Horizon is running interference, and you're not going to try to fight into a World Ender Aatrox. Who do you pick off if you're Purdue Gold? Realistically, it's Hiccup or nothing, right?
Well, at this point, I'd say Purdue just picks whoever's kind of side laning on their own. You can still go for High Prince. With the Eclipse, he's not the tankiest of champions. I think Purdue, you can't afford to get picky. Loki, Dosi, and Hiccup, they're the most obvious like sort of targets to go for, but it's still a Karma at the end of the day, and my fear is usually you see Hiccup and Loki Dosi together. So you're right, if you can get Hiccup, go for it. She's the easiest pick. But with Loki Dosi in her back pocket, if you go for Hiccup, you're probably going to lose everybody who went for the Karma.
Yeah, as we crest upon the 16-minute mark right now, Indiana University, a commanding 4,500 gold lead as the Herald does get popped. Who's going to ride it? I think junglers should be the only ones too, as nobody's actually going to get inside.
Yeah.
Hey guys, come on, what are we doing?
The turret almost went down to the Herald, so I think they miscalculated ever so slightly on fractions of health, and I like it if Hoosiers just use that Herald pressure to try and get Dragon Prio instead, because this is third Drake. They are in position, and Purdue is the one starting it up.
A much bigger Drake for Purdue than Indiana. Realistically, it can kind of put them on some sort of win condition. As now the Winter's Bite and the ultimate does come out. Event Horizon does come in. Fate Sealed and the ultimate's coming out here. World Ender from the back. High Prince has a massive flank, and he's tearing on through the pincer maneuver from Indiana University. Loki Dosi from the front, and High Prince just slamming them from the flank. And unfortunately, Purdue Gold are going to go down. They don't even get the dragon. They're not allowed anything.
You know, Shibi, I feel like a prophet sometimes when I say these things, but let's be honest, we knew this was coming. Fox has to be careful as well. Hiccup could try and snap you over the wall.
Hiccup has potential another Q. Wind becomes lightning, like you said, just missed here. Saknam, buddy, I don't know if you can actually do anything here. I respect the attempt, maybe the bravado from him right now as Volley is back here. It's a 3v3. TP's coming in. The Hex Tech portal does get used. They want to fancy themselves a fight, but Loki Dosi's here. Saknam, you're by yourself, buddy. That's a Varus that's on hit. Fate Seal does come out here, but the whole bunch of damage is coming in. Hypers is still living. The Eclipse doesn't allow him to live for too long, as Fox is just dead here. The Stormcaller's Rage does come out, and Amended is TPing in. Event Horizon should go down, and that means Saknam's life is not long for this world. Purdue Gold try to make a play. They try to flank Indiana, but in reality, they walked into their own deaths, and the Hoosiers, 18 minutes in, have an 8,000 near or 7,000 gold lead here. It's looking rougher and rougher.
I think it might just be a GG Gonix angle at this point, Shibby. On the bright side, though, Saknam didn't go out alone. Saknam had Fox in the gray screen with him, so supporting even in death. But yeah, this is what we kind of expected. I do appreciate Purdue went for that, though. This was probably the best angle they could find. The fact that they had that flank angle for Fox, that Saknam could run somebody down. It just speaks to the advantages that Hoosier has built up to this point, that Purdue wasn't actually able to find any kills on that pick. And with that said and done, at this point, you're hoping that Hoosiers makes a mistake. Maybe they overextend on the dive. But given how they've played so far, I don't think we've seen Hoosiers overextend a single time. It's been all about Lokidosi, all about Hiccup, just getting the poke down, and then Amended kind of finding that critical stun, and or you're so low that Yama just gets the free dive.
Ooh, Hiccup is probably going to try to force out minimum the Spirit Rush here. Fox is in a bit of trouble. Wind Becomes Lightning does hit. The ultimate does get forced out. A lot of damage traded back. The tower helping just a little bit, but realistically, that's a win if you're Indiana. You only had to expend a couple basic abilities for the ultimate that is so crucial for this Ahri in this composition. And you mentioned Indiana not really overstepping their boundaries, not really getting too excited here and playing it very slow. I feel like Lokidosi is the epitome of that right now. He's been executing perfectly as Lychee. Brother, that is not your red buff. That is not your jungle. Gonna have to Stormbringer out, but he's gonna get knocked up by the Q3. Wind Becomes Lightning does land. Galliusi is free firing away, but the damage is not there. Fox and Galliusi could not put enough damage down onto Yama to get anything done, and that is a sore sight. A singular Kraken Slayer on the side of Galliusi, and you've got Malignance for Fox. You are not killing anyone anytime soon. As Fox, with no ultimate available, they're going to try to go here. Charm does land. Actually, I lied. The ultimate's back up. Malignant's broken, actually.
Yeah, it's a really, really short cooldown. And it gets even shorter because I think it's 80 seconds or 90 seconds at max rank plus Malignant. It gets ridiculously short, basically up almost every other wave at that point. Now, it's worth noting that it feels like Indiana's been playing slow because they've been playing safe. They haven't given up any free kills. But we just hit 20 minutes. Baron is now just on the board. So the Hoosiers have been pressuring very heavily. And because of that, Galliusi, who has done a pretty good job picking up farm where they can after the really, really rough early game, that Kraken Slayer one item is not a terrible power spike to be at this point. The problem is just that you're comparing to Lokidosi, who has 9 kills, 7 assists, and it's on 3 items. That's why it feels so bad to be Jinx right now.
The Bork, the Terminus, and the Ginsu's all completed up. This Baron should go down fairly quickly. I feel like Indiana should just be able to rip it whenever they want, right? Granted, we do see a lot of teams at this level, at the collegiate level, when they have such a big lead, they kind of get a little, I would say, scared to do anything, as the face seal does come out from Valley here. The 1v1 World Ender has yet to be popped right now. High Prince is just going to take a beating right now. He's getting sliced and diced, slashed and slap chopped. Valley is just going to cut him to pieces. High Prince, that is still a Yone. That is still a 2-item top laner. You can't just 1v1 him. As the Wind Becomes Lightning does come out, Event Horizon does come in. Ultimate from the back. Fox is looking to land the charm. He's going to ult out here. Galliusi uses the ultimate right now, and this is maybe a team fight. The resets start coming in, as now we see Valley TP'd in. Event Horizon once again stuns him. Primordial Burst kicks him out of his boots, and Hiccup Lokidosi Amended gets the snipe onto Fox.
So I'm going to need to see a license for that gun you got, Lokidosi, because I'm sure it ain't fox hunting season just yet, or maybe it is, because that's the second time I think we've seen Lokidosi actually snipe from a mile away onto Fox. They can't do Baron after that because the jungler's dead. They can go for the dragon. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think the dragon matters. I don't think we're going to see a soul at the rate Hoosiers are playing. I think after this, they just reset, go to Baron, and force Purdue to go to them. Don't try and split push. High Prince can't beat Valley anymore. That Yone is online. We are past that 2-item sort of power spike for that Yone.
Yeah, and he's got a BF sword in hand. High Prince, not the best of items right now. Eclipse and a Dream really is what he has. The best thing he can do is look to split and maybe force Fox to match right now, because the TP did come out from Valley here, so he's got to end up grouping. but it doesn't seem like Indiana's in too much of a rush right now. They are finally working towards that Baron, and the vision line is going to have to be cleared. Purdue doing a decent job just maintaining vision across the map, trying to make sure that this Baron doesn't get snuck under their noses. But realistically, like you mentioned, Indiana can just use the Baron as a team fight tool, force Purdue in, and then just turn it around. No flash, no ghost available for Loki Doki, so that might be an opportunity, potentially, for Purdue Gold to get a team fight win. But they lost a 4v5, and that looked kind of bleak.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 4v5 should be. So forget sneaking it. If anything, Hoosiers, send Purdue an invite. Tell them to RSVP, get over here. Because you could probably do Baron and still win the team fight simultaneously. If you could do that without one of your tanks, imagine what Loki Dosi, imagine what Amended can do with actual tanks in front of them to buy space. That said, maybe Hoosiers are finally going to show up. High Prince is actually not having a good time, even against Fox, who is a level down right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to go against these mages, especially when you don't have any MR here. And the apprehensiveness from Indiana to start this Baron is really going to get on my nerves, Arms. You know how you know how I am with teams with leads when they don't start the Baron. I've seen throws happen time and time again. You've got to rip it. You've got to do something here to force them in. And Sakdom does get the ward down. He has to know this is being taken. But because Leechy got bursted out, because he's not available, the Baron is going to go down. Leechy's trying his best. The TP's come in.
Oh, the turn
Sakdom does hit the ultimate here. Galiyushi does go in, and we see the Crescent Guard being locked in, and now with all this damage being pumped in, unfortunately, Leechy and Sakdom, the front line that Purdue Gold had, is just not available, and Fox is gonna have to Spirit Rush out, and perfectly, like you mentioned, RMC, the Baron is a team fight tool. It is not real. It's fake right now.
Yama did take a lot of damage, though, and that's the jungler taking a whole bunch of honey fruit is back up, and we go for round 2. This time, no Leechy, no smite for Purdue. Valley still has that fate sealed, but I don't think you're going to call for it. Are they? Fox is TPing in.
They want to try to do something. Desperation in their eyes. A 4v5, but that Baron's going to go down super quick, like you mentioned. Fate Unsealed does come in, and potentially Valley might look to get something done here. They're trying to remove as many Barons as possible. Why not? You're down 10,000 gold, but the event Horizon comes in, and Primordial Burst will clean it up, and now the ghost gets popped. Loki Dosi says, charge ahead! I want to go home! I want to end the game! Event Horizon comes in. Loki Dosi's firing away. They are going forward. They are charging into the base of Purdue right now. Galiyushi and Sakdom are turning tail. This tower is going to go down. Mid-tier 2 is theirs. Are they going to reset? Are they going to push for more?
For the side of Hoosiers, I think you just keep pushing right now. Death timers 10 seconds before Fox backup. No TP as well. Oh! Okay. Hiccup might have overextended ever so slightly. Galiyushi excited, but can't find anything else. Now, Chippy, now you have to recall because Fox is actually back up. So good defense coming through from the side of Purdue, but I feel like they've lost track of Amended. They forgot how fed he is.
Oh! Yeah. Amended with another Primordial Burst. Sakdom, buddy, you don't really have a lot of armor. You can't just kind of walk up onto him. Amended's been having a really quiet, good game, right? Like, we talk about Loki Dosi, we talk about Yama and how effective they were, but Amended with these Event Horizons has netted his team 2 guaranteed kills consistently, right? Like, that is all you need. Once you get that numbers advantage, it's so easy to start pushing in. The resets come in, like you mentioned. Loki Dosi's on 4 items. Yama and the rest of the crew are just pillaging this jungle. They are absolutely not leaving any scraps. Like the Vikings of yesteryear, Indiana University are pillaging and taking everything.
I don't know if our producer's trying to say something, our observer, Bridie, when she's zooming in on Gromp dying more than she's zooming on the corpses of Purdue dropping. To be fair, Purdue has dropped 25 times. I don't think I've seen Gromp drop 25 times yet this game. And that number's about to increase. At least the body count, unfortunately, for Purdue. As with the Baron buff, pushing strong right now. We do see the side of Hoosiers pushing in on 2 lanes, and they know they have the numbers advantage because Valley is trying to answer bot side. Or top side, I guess.
He's got a TP available. No wards, really, except that one in the bottom corner. Keep your eyes on us now. The guy's going to come in. Huge crescent guard, and Loki Dosi's once again allowed to free fire in the back. He's going to get a kill on top of Yama, and the TP does come in. Fox is so low. It's a 3v5, and the members you need to clear this wave are not with you. Event Horizon comes in. Saknam gets hit. The Primordial Burst doesn't come out just yet. Vale with the Fate Unsealed is trying to stop everybody. He slices and dices. Primordial Burst follows him to the Nether Realm, and he gets sent right down to hell. And right now, Indiana University, 28 minutes in, fountain diving, turret killing, Nexus blitzing. They will take game one in a commanding fashion.
In fact, because of the AoE of the empowered or the mantra'd up Q, I think she actually might arguably have done more work in the sort of pre-fights to soften up Purdue. So the Karma might necessitate a ban or a pick away. And Fox does play the Karma as well. I'm just more thinking about, for Gala Yushi's side of things, what you want to do. Because he did play Draven the last time they met, and that's sort of his like, big pocket pick, that and Samira. And it did not go well for him. So I don't even know if you can pick those sort of super early game champions. Maybe you deny away the Varus for yourself on the blue side. As we mentioned, it's a very versatile AD carry. You can build into multiple build paths. And it can be quite safe. And then maybe for your support, pick an Enchanter or pick something like a Tom Kench. The Braum was great, don't get me wrong. I think Saknam did a lot on that. But things like Tom Kench or Enchanters have a more direct saving effect on your AD carry than the Unbreakable.
I think that's what they're going to have to think about, but right now, there it is. So just, hey, no, we can't deal with it. There was one point where I watched Hiccup, I believe, almost 1v1 Fox in the mid lane. I was like, that's not a support. They literally tried to target that recently. No, it's going to be banned away. Double support bans come out here. Indiana, on the flip side, are saying, yo, mid and jungle, we want to take away two major power picks, and I can agree with this. We mentioned, hey, if you're going to run the Ahri, or are you going to switch to something like the Hwei? No, ban it away. Double ban into that bot side. Indiana are not going to play the same bot lane again.
No, because Purdue just banned out the bot lane, all three bans, which is kind of surprising. Well, I guess it shouldn't be, because it was the issue, and maybe that's part of the game plan that they're using to kind of punish that bot lane for now. Whereas on the side of Hoosiers, we're not seeing any changes to their bans so far.
Yeah, listen, the thing is I enjoy the fact that you do give respect twice in a game to the Blitzcrank, and it's very, very nice. Okay. And now taking away another pick. So this is now a shadow ban against Yama, who I believe played the Xin Zhao in game number 1, had a stellar time reaching that back line. Purdue are going to try and take it on their own. Ooh, okay. Okay, Loki Dosi, I see you.
Yeah, and I really like the Zeri pickup. I think with how mechanical Loki Dosi was in game 1, if you can dodge everything on a Varus, you can dodge it even better on the Zeri, and you can play aggressively. We saw that. He was ghosting forward on that Varus, and now with the Zeri, there's so many more tools. Poppy being picked up as well for the side of Hoosiers. I actually really like that pick. Not just something that can defend these sort of hyper carries, because the Zeri doesn't need that, but it's something to disengage the likes of that Xin Zhao running in.
Wow. Okay. So not only did Karma get some adjustments, but I believe Camille did as well. There was a note stating, hey, Camille's not having that great of a time. However, it still stands to reason that this is going to be a Poppy denying you twice over, and then you follow up with the Draven. Outright aggression from Purdue, whether it's a gamble or not. I mean, this is a gamble.
It is, and I'm a little bit concerned overall, because I do love my Draven, and I do like the fact that we're going to see here Gala Yushi is a great Draven player, but as we mentioned before, they've tried it, and it didn't work the last time. They tried to run it into the likes of Loki Dosi. Now, last time Loki Dosi went with the Kalista, so they went blow for blow in the early game. This time, the Zeri will not be something that can try and match that Draven in the early 2v2. They pick up the Nautilus, something we see very, very frequently as well. Just on-demand CC trying to lock down Draven. If he drops those spinning axes, his damage drops with those spinning axes. So I like the idea. They've now got engaged, they've got disengaged, very balanced composition so far from Hoosier, and they're still looking to potentially pick up their solo lanes. That Poppy could flex top, it's good into Camille, so mid and either jungle or top.
Oh, and, you know, with that flex, you can see where Purdue's ideas are currently going. It's, hey, let's focus on that top lane. Let's make sure that we get a favorable matchup with the Camille. Of course, Camille could go support. I think it still technically could be flex on it if you want to run it in that direction. Yeah. But with the bans, it feels way more in the pocket of Veil right now. That is now 3 bans sent to the top side. 1 just as insurance. The Fiora, by the way, if you didn't know, Fiora also got a... I don't know. Listen, all the buffs came through. Everything else got nerfed. I don't know. But it is going to be that Aatrox to be locked in here, High Prince riding on a high horse and hoping that Aatrox will carry to victory.
Yeah, last game, High Prince also played this Aatrox. I think this time will be much better matchup if it is the Camille top. And even if it isn't, the fact that Xin Zhao, Camille, Draven are all fairly short range is going to be good. But the deny away from Amended with the Vigar, I think that speaks a lot to how well Amended played it. But I also do think it's a great pickup in this situation to kind of try and punish that Poppy, punish the Aatrox. Zeri as well is actually fairly short range. So yes, she can kite around the baby cage, but just the amount of space the baby cage gives you there can force Zeri into unfavorable positions, and she might not be able to auto attack as freely as she'd otherwise like.
Ooh, the Alistar to follow up and be that final piece. So I actually really like this for a little bit roundabout reason, and then we get the Orianna on the back end. Purdue still locking in that go button, and I actually really appreciate this. Number one is you see the Xin Zhao come in here, and it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to have engage. We have that die potential. And then you see the Poppy come out. Most people would try and alleviate, try and go a different direction. Maybe not go die, maybe not do anything. The other side is just overload. You pray to God that you can overload that steadfast presence, and then you still get the knock-up or, you know, anything like that. It is a heavy gamble risk. It is heavy gamble, but I respect saying, hey, listen, that Xin Zhao is not going to go alone, though. Right now, it is going to be Indiana Esports saying, yo, though, you're still running it into us, of all people.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sold on that, Alistar.
Listen, I believe in Purdue Gold for sticking with their guns there, okay? I still stick with them on that.
I feel like you're raising the stakes and not the right type, because I think they're just going to get cooked. Hoosiers, on the other hand, the Orianna pick is an interesting one. I think it's really good for the potential team fight later. You got really good ball delivery systems, and more than likely we're going to see Purdue kind of clumped up with the melees that they have. The zone control against the Draven is going to be good, but the laning orbital is where I am a little bit concerned about Orianna. She'll win out early because Vigar is slow and has to walk up to things, but the skill in the mid lane, the kill threat the Vigar has with the Xin Zhao just feels so much stronger to me than what Orianna is going to get with Poppy, just in terms of burst damage. Now, if it is a 2v2, Poppy can stop a lot of the engage from coming through, but yeah, I think it's going to be an Amended. Actually, wait, hold up a second. Amended's in the jungle?
Yeah. So I was looking at this, and we were wondering why this happened. It's because they had a three-way trade. Amended went to jungle, Hiccup went to mid, and Yama's in support. Bruh, Indiana sent us for a loop right there. Oh my god, I love this.
Okay, you know what? Given what Hiccup did last game with her karma, I am perfectly okay with her taking the Orianna mid. To me, the big question becomes, Yama go in support. I guess we should have known this because it wasn't an Enchanter support, and Hiccup pretty much exclusively plays Enchanters if she can. So I'm now very curious to see if Yama can do what he needs to on this Nautilus, because, hey, yeah, like, we're already getting a chunk. That's not ideal to start. Alistar's not the tankiest support, and he's winning out those early trades. As Nautilus, you can't actually get in there and be the engage you need to be.
It's rough to think about, and in a situation where, for the side of Purdue, I think they were hoping for a little bit of stability. That's why they kind of picked this composition. It'll be a challenge. It'll be very interesting to watch for. Not only that, on the top side, Valley just, yo, hey, I'm still going to be a little bit of a threat. I'm still going to have that power trying to win out that lane early. Everything's kind of shaken up from game number one, and Purdue Gold, I want to see them be able to adjust properly. I want to see them be able to have a solid early game phase here and get their leads as they so wish, as the junglers going for the full clear.
Okay, a bit of trading back and forth. Fox doesn't have to win this lane, he just has to stack this lane right now. And bot side, Lychee trying to reciprocate. Last game, we saw Yama actually getting the early ganks off. This time, Lychee wants to be the first one here. Maybe trying to take advantage of the fact that, again, Amended is role swapped not once now, but twice in this series. And maybe Amended might not be the most optimal jungler. Maybe you can try and outpace.
For right now, you're a beat behind, but you're not even focused on some of those other areas. This is going to be a straight gank towards that bot side. Mid lane, we're seeing one as well, but that's going to be the draw on of the Alistar. Alistar not getting that knock-up, so Saknom not going to enjoy that, but knocks back a little bit of stun as Galayushi says, yo, forgot about me. Axes all day, not being dropped. And it's Indiana who say, oh crap, this isn't going to work. And they try and turn, but Lychee's here, trying to try and leech off a little bit of this XP as its first sprung to Galayushi. Revenge complete as Purdue Gold pick up 2.
Purdue learning their lesson from game one and applying it immediately. That's what they'd love to see from some star students. But also for Hoosiers, this role swap really kind of isn't working out. I understand that as Nautilus, you want to play aggressively, but because Yama took so much damage early on, you saw that even with the exhaust, they weren't able to deal with Gala-Yushi. And the moment the junglers showed up, the moment Lychee got down there, it was losing for the side of Hoosiers. And now Purdue, their bot lane's in a comfortable position. This is exactly where you need to be with an early game Draven.
Listen, RMC, you didn't believe in your own pick. Come on, I put a lot down on Purdue Gold. They got off to a great start. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I do agree though. There still needs to be a little bit of measurement. They gotten over the first hurdle. That first hurdle of, hey, we need to have a strong level 1 or level 2, level 3. We need to get those early kills. Now we need to see that continued throughout. Indiana, though, still feels a little bit bad. And we're watching this mid lane still being traded out. No real differences there. Hiccup, she's trying to enjoy this mid lane, farm it up as much as possible. You can see going into, by the way, that inspiration tree is always interesting as Valley. Okay, extra shielding, you're fine. I saw, man, that tether from High Prince, if that had drawn in, that would have been a lot of damage down.
Actually, let's talk about the top lane for a little bit, Orban.
Yeah.
Because even when Purdue lost in game one, Valley was the brightest point for this team in a counter matchup. Now, technically, the Aatrox does counter Camille, and I say that technically because I'm looking at the CS numbers. Valley is almost double High Prince right now in terms of CS, is denying away a lot of that gold. And this Camille pick is also kind of a hard counter to this Zeri, which means then the pressure is now on Amended to disengage later on to get the Keeper's Verdict onto the Camille. And for Valley, if you're winning side lane, if you're able to be a big split push threat as well as a team fight threat, to me, that's almost what I'm looking at for the win con for Purdue later on, even more than Gala-Yushi getting fed early.
Hiccup, you went the wrong way. Good ult to get out of town, but Hiccup did not enjoy that trade at all. And Fox, I mean, you did burn the flash. Hiccup still has theirs. Yeah. A good point. Amended on the top side. You did see grabbing those grubbies there.
Yeah, and we did see, of course, Lychee starting up the dragon, able to pick that one up. So it's kind of the expected trades. Bot side, we're seeing action, but I suspect mid is going to be the spicier one as both junglers are here.
Oh, and it's still Lychee to have that impact. First it was bot, now it's mid. Do we call that 2 counter ganks? Because Lychee was there second again.
Yeah, I guess so. Both junglers independently arrived at the same conclusion, which is mid is vulnerable.
Oh my god.
Everybody's in the bushes right now.
Oh, and you're not going to enjoy that one for the side of Indiana. Yama Dama Do. This is not where you want to be. That's dead. Gala-Yushi 2-0-1. Oh, this early game bot lane has officially swung into Purdue Gold's perfect way.
Can you just highlight too? Yama had flash. Like the CC chain was there, but it wasn't that long. Yama
oh my god!
If they wanted. Oh, that gold. Okay, you know what? This turnabout's fair play. Last game we saw Loki Josie at a roughly around the 7-8 minute mark had double Gala-Yushi's gold. Now this time Gala-Yushi's the one who's almost double Loki Josie's gold. And the nice thing with a Draven when you've got that lead is you can continue to snowball very, very quickly. Amended. Now on the bot side, they're looking for a gank.
And I think that is going to be a sacrifice. Saknam is dropped into the ground, which is an appropriate response. It's also gifted to Loki Dosi. So for the Hoosiers, they will continue to try and find those little pieces. But remember, that is the first kill that you have gotten for your team in 7.5 minutes for this game 2. It's a very small consolation prize.
Yeah, and the one you got it on was the support. So Gala-Yushi just, able to just safely base back buy those items for more pressure. And it's just going to miss one way for it. It's really not that big a deal. I think Purdue are okay with that trade. The bigger question to me is what Lychee is going to do while this is happening. Because a lot of times when junglers gank, either they meet up or you're kind of trading objectives and pressure elsewhere. Lychee was on the top side, but there's nothing to get up here.
There's nothing really to get right away, but with that brush tactic, you're hoping for a little something, forcing your get, if that will. But Hiccup playing very far back, even had Yama in the back pocket. I think you understand at this point, top side leaning into Valley's favor, same with bot side leaning into Purdue Gold's favor. The only other area it felt like was going to be that mid lane, so appropriately staying in the back foot. For how much longer, though, is going to be that question. That gold lead of 2.5 is starting to be spent a little bit. Gala-Yushi has it. Fox stacking up very nicely as well. Indiana gonna be feeling the heat a little bit.
Yeah, and it's even worse because the gold spread coming through from the side of Purdue is almost perfect, right? You've got the Draven hit. That's the one you wanted to. Have they found Lokidosi? Quick flash.
Good flash out, and Saknal now realizing this could be a problem. Galayushi having to burn that exhaust and keep themselves safe, but I mean, now you walk forward. I'm not sure you actually want to be here, but that's a huge whirling death. You get one. Do you survive? Yes, you do. Galayushi almost turns it around. Saknum, these two throw down with the best of them. At that point, it's just over. Hiccup gets caught in the rebuttal, and oh my lord, disaster strikes for Indiana. That is now 3 times that this bot lane has been against Indiana, and Purdue Gold are playing it to perfection. Yama and Amanda can do nothing as Purdue Gold take over the entire game.
And that's literally just the goal lead from earlier overall. If not for the fact that Galayushi had those extra items, Galayushi should have gone down to the CC chain. It was perfect from Amended and Yama. It just wasn't enough. And Lokidosi, this early on as the Zeri, doesn't have the damage you need. And now for Hoosiers, I respect that you went down there to try and salvage that big carry, Lokidosi. But I think from here on out, you just don't go back down there. Any play you make in equal numbers is bound to backfire. And right there, losing that much gold and that much pressure, Purdue are now firmly in the driver's seat. They control the map. They control the objectives. Anywhere Galayushi and Saknum show up, that's going to be a winning side for Purdue.
I just want to point out, if they weren't respecting that kill difference, respect the item difference. Essence Reaver and Serrated Dirk, Galayushi is literally like, yo, you can't touch me. And if you do, at least 2 of you are going to die. I think that's what's being said here. In Indiana, they've been trying, and I do agree, Amanda needs to find other avenues, but where do you want to go? High Prince on the top side, down 30 CS, and you mentioned it, Valley continuing to have that value since game number 1, and now being able to flex that a little bit more without the threat of the early game kind of going awry. This is huge. And I think Valley is going to enjoy this very, very much. Of course, at the current moment, hasn't really gotten the plates, but we'll start chunking it out. Amended, going directly against what we asked about.
Yeah, I am. And you can see Leechy's right there as well. They know where they need to play for.
And it's going to happen again. I talk too much because Amended and Leechy want to play the game. Another whirl comes out. Mid lane Hiccup is going to fall. It's 2-1 so far. Lokidosi, though, might be able to turn around. Gets 2, but Yama cannot keep Leechy off. Leechy sticking like a leech. Double kill for the Zinzal. It's an overall 3 for 2, but you know, Indiana, they're going to say, hey, main job down. We got Galayushi shut down. I'm just not sure it's worth it.
Yeah, I think for Hoosiers, that's actually one of the rare situations where even though they didn't win the fight, that was a worthwhile fight for them. You kind of took off, well, I think Galayushi actually cashed out before he died, so that's not the best thing, but you got his bounty, as you pointed out. You got it on Lokidosi, which is the bigger thing. You are still banking on this Zeri to try and carry you through in the late game. Dragon, just picked up by Purdue. Amended, not going to be able to answer on the other side quite safely enough. You can see Leechy already making a beeline straight up to get both sides with the objectives.
I mean, you did the job, though. I think that was a grab. You can see the 2-2 current stack situation on the grub, so you're pretty happy. Yama, though, this is going to be a rebuttal on the bot side. Lokidosi, knowing that the cage is already drawn down, and Fox, haven't seen that one. You don't have flash. You don't really have anything, so you're just praying that Yama doesn't do too much. It's a good curve. The damage is actually going down, and Lokidosi has to wait. The fact that Fox is still alive, by the way, is crazy. This is so wrong. No, you don't get to walk away here. Hiccup is now going to collapse in, but that will be a chance. Do you get away? Yes, you do! Fox is a cutting Fox. Still has the Ari skills in there. Get away thanks to the Hextech gates. This is Hiccup. Wrong spot. Wrong spot. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Hiccup flashing for the light, but the whirling death. Executions galore. Purdue North are getting literally everything, whether it be kills or escapes.
I just can't believe it. And Fox did that blind, by the way. He didn't have vision on Yama on the other side of the wall, but somehow constantly positioned perfectly so that Yama could never quite find the engage over the wall. That is absolutely utterly criminal. Now, Lokidosi did still farm up, so bot side was not a net negative for Hoosiers, but mid lane was. And unfortunately for Hiccup, this role swap has not favored her whatsoever. Now 0-4 is starting to fall behind in CS. Yes, Oriana's got a good mid-game power spike, but you're never going to match the scaling off that Vigar.
And with the Vigar being happy about that, the double up of the Hextech Ultimatum will be a threat as well. Valley, you can see, storming that top side in the 1v1 situation. Now 1v2 as Saknon wants to get in on it. It's a problem. No, Prince. Oh, Prince, you should have completed the recall. I think they're going to try and force it. I mean, the wave is crashing. Okay, they don't actually want to fight it because you can see Yama and Lokidosi coming up. Man, though, Purdue, happy about these days, and I do agree, Hiccup having a little bit of a struggle, needs to find some value with this Orianna.
Yeah, and with the skill on Purdue's side as well, this is feeling really, really strongly in their favor. The only thing lacking so far, or that I want to see more of, because I can't even say it's lacking. We're only 14 minutes in Oberl, and they've got 11 kills. I want to see them, get all these objectives and start pushing the map a little bit. The turrets is something that they have been struggling to take. They took the bot side turret off of Galayushi's pressure. Now he's unleashed onto the rest of the map. I'd love to see them use that pressure to start cracking open more of these outer turrets, get that influx of gold, and then come that 20-minute mark orbital, there should be no way for Hoosiers to even look at any of the neutral objectives.
Oh, it's just... I think it's already starting. You could see that Herald being taken as quick as a flash, by the way. That was extremely quick. On what is supposed to be a tanky objective to go for. Nah, just easily knocked up, and they're looking to field it into that mid lane. Leechy has been staying on this top side of the map. And it's just... I'm just wondering where Indiana's going to try and come out from this. You see the glimmers of how they're trying to pin down, a 4v2 or something like that. I just don't know where they want to actually throw their hat in and say we got to make a play somewhere, because yes, you want Lokidosi to scale up, but how much longer are you going to wait for that to happen?
Yeah, and on top of that, can you actually get Lokidosi to scale up at the rate you're going? Yeah. Right now, this Draven Zeri matchup is still not comfortable for Lokidosi, and with the exhaust on Galayushi, mid lane kind of feels even worse for the Zeri, because you don't have the walls to kind of hop over. Hiccup once more stuck in the baby cage, and Leechy and Saknum are here.
Oh, Hiccup hiccuped a little bit too hard, and hiccuped into a death. That is now 5, and only completing that Saracen Embrace so far. It's a rightful pinch. This is what you do. You do decide to fight as hard as you can against a champion or a player that has been pinned down. And on the top side, Valley still more than fine to say, because now you get this bot lane tower. One charge goes off. No one on the side of Indiana is even available. Because of that, you're going to loop around. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Wait,
Drive
nope,
away.
Leechy.
Oh, Leechy tried. Leechy. Definitely not a Scion main.
You know what? Not every college kid needs a driver's license, overall.
Oh, wait. Do you still get it? Do you still get the charge?
No shot.
There's no charge if they're not driving, by the way. Yeah.
True.
Oh my god.
Unfortunate. So, overall, I did want to ask as well. I don't know about your college. Back in my college days, we used to get a U pass for a university pass for transit.
Oh.
So we actually legitimately didn't have to drive. Oh, Yama's here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the transit. Sometimes the grapples are easier to work with here. You don't need to ride a train or anything like that. Valley's more than happy. Oh, wait. Fox.
Oh.
Okay, a little bit sneaky. Listen, as long as Summoner Soul's up, I always assume now Purdue Gold are going to be fine. I am assuming that Purdue Gold are always going to be fine.
That's fair so far. I mean, the flashes have been on point. Galayushi, a TP being committed from Valley here. Is it going to be in time? Nope.
Okay, that was pretty slick. Amended, quite literally drawing everyone back in. No repel to work, and it's 2 major kills. Indiana came out with some fight, and you know what? We were wondering where that pinch is going to go. This time around, Purdue Gold aren't able to maintain. However, what did go down is that 3rd dragon. It is a massive boon here for the side of Purdue Gold. That Indiana are straight up saying, stack 5 in mid, just brute force our way to a tower, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, with Galayushi down, it becomes a lot easier to push because so much gold is on that Draven, and Leechy wasn't there either. I think Leechy, rolling death, not able to find anybody. Okay, just canceled back. I did want to highlight too, Leechy wasn't there. Leechy's the other person with a ton of kills, and I actually really like what Leechy did. Focus on the objectives. This is a Hextech soul. If you get that, there's no running from this Draven. He will become your worst nightmare. So I love the pry over that. Prince is dead. Yep, the one who got tagged by anything. Zero counterplay, guys. This is Viga for you.
You You're talking about transit and everything, and that was just straight up just a driving by and just like throwing a little rock into a pond. It was just like, it's just that easy. You don't even have to worry about anything. Valley's gonna do the same here. This one's more like a bullet train though. Valley has, been that star at game 1, and this time gets a little value. The first kill for Valley is at 18.5 minutes. That's only because the rest of the team has been doing so much more. Loki Dosi and Yama are gonna try and trade things up, and it is gonna be the CC chain. Loki Dosi is now being spoon-fed, but can it go through the exhaust? Thankfully, you have the exhaust to help out, but my gosh, it's still mid lane being bullied down. Purdue Gold quite literally saying it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter how many of us you kill, we've already gotten the early game lead, and we are going to expand upon it.
Yeah, because Hoosiers need to commit so much more to make things happen, right? Like, they need at least a numbers advantage. There's a 2v1 to find the kill onto Valley. And so Purdue's just like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then we know that we're going to have numbers advantage somewhere else. And so they just kind of brute force that. That's it, Orbital. That is the mid lane inner. There's only one inner turret remaining on that top side. Once that one goes down, there are no more easy turrets for the side of Purdue to take. And that's when I think Baron becomes paramount for this team. In order to keep pushing the way they have been, in order to crack those base turrets, Baron is a huge tool to make that happen.
I know you said, I have to point it out. I know you said there's no easy turrets. Galayushi makes the turrets look easy. I don't like the fact that these turrets are dropping so quickly. It hurts, but I do agree. This Baron could be that big game changer. And the other side is, I really do appreciate the fact that we are seeing Indiana just highball, just going hard on just these solo kills, because it's something that I always say. If you're down, the first step is literally just get kills, get gold somewhere. Yes, it's a small prize, but it is a prize at the end of the day.
That's true. And as much as they might be losing objectives elsewhere on the map to make these plays happen, that is probably the best sort of situation they can hope for. They can't contest these objectives anyways. Give it up, get those kills, as you rightly pointed out. Now they found Fox as well. That is Fox's first death. I believe they had a bounty on them as well. And for the Hoosiers, they're still in that top side. They've still got enough vision on that top side to at least know when Purdue want to start that one up. And for Purdue, I don't know if you want to start this up or just wait 2 minutes for that dragon to come up and then just kind of go for the dragon instead. Ignore the dragon you see in the top left corner. It's XXO. So once you get that, then yeah, it becomes so much easier for you. I think that is even worth trading the Baron if need be, which you won't have to because Hoosiers can't take Baron.
They want to. You see the wars going down. It's like, please, please, please go for the Baron. Maybe we can steal her. Amended, by the way, with a double role swap now. First to mid and now to jungle. Huge props, by the way. Has been the one that I think really kicked off this even inkling, this even from 1% to 2% chance of Indiana having a bridge into the mid to late. It's been strong, the Poppy. But we need to see a lot more right now. Loki Dosi and the rest of the squad are leaning towards that top side of the map, saying, yo, we're going to collapse in as 5, and they have drawn 1. This is going to be Leechy to be caught out. Rest of the team, Purdue, are not really there, but look at the strength. Look at the wallets of Purdue. They are so strong, and now the rest of the squad is here, and the baby cage goes down. Purdue might be looking for a bit more, but the damage is there. Saganov trying to go back in, but you don't really have any extra support. That's going to be a kill, and another one. Yama is going to turn it around. Down goes the Vigar, and Val's trying to go to the back line. What are you doing? What is going on here? Indiana straight up bullying their way in. Hiccup with a double kill. Loki Dosi lives.
What just happened? Oh, no. Purdue was winning. Purdue should have been winning. Out of nowhere, Hoosiers finds a winning fight, and it literally felt like out of nowhere because it just threw a hook. And the funny part to me was how that broke down. The fact that Purdue kind of the start of that fight was just a hook from Yama. Nothing major was blown. Leechy blew the Crescent Guard, and Purdue reset and then opted back into the fight. And I think that's where things started to go wrong for them. When they kind of went back in, they didn't have everybody quite ready and waiting, and Hoosiers played that beautifully. The whole setup we're talking about with Poppy, with Nautilus, creating space for Zeri, that's exactly what they did. And as long as Loki Dosi lives, Loki Dosi can still pump out damage, will still pump out damage.
I hate the fact that now we gotta watch this happen, and the only reason is because I don't know who's gonna come out on top. This dragon, for me, was supposed to be Purdue Gold's, and Purdue Gold I think still has it, but they saw someone TP around. High Prince is not there, so maybe they try this 45 flash over the wall. Baby Cage goes down, and this is more but the Purdue Gold fight. It is gonna be a wash of 3 easy. Purdue Gold say, yo, we are not losing this dragon. 4 dead in the blink of an eye, and might as well turn for Baron 2.
Yeah, and this critical fight, Keeper's Verdict, was not available for Amended. Hoosiers shouldn't have been opting for it, but they ran out of time because that was so important. And if they don't start it, Purdue will, and because of that, Purdue now picking up the Dragon, going for Baron as well. They've got everything, and Hoosier, they've got literally nothing to contest this with.
We were so excited. That mid lane fight felt like a wake-up call to Purdue Gold, though. It felt like they said, oh, if we don't play right, we will lose. We need to shore things up. Yep. They group up, they play smart. And now it's right back in the driver's seat, because at the end of the day, yes, Indiana played that first fight very well, looked very clean, looked like a great kind of underdog story. You're still down a lot of gold. At the end of the day, you're still down about 8K, and a majority share of that we saw earlier with the gold pop-up. Galayushi is carrying a lot of that. 3.5 items in their pocket. Same in the mid lane. Fox, 5, 2, and 4. 3 items in their pocket. And then Lychee, 6, 0, and 6. Still has not died, by the way. A massive force to be reckoned with. I'm very impressed with Purdue Gold so far. Now I just want to see a clean closeout.
Now, clean is going to be the tough one, Orbital, because as we saw, Hoosiers can actually fight back when their ultimates are up and available. If Purdue misstep, they could potentially die. And the people I'm actually watching for in Purdue is kind of no longer Galayushi. Like, you're ahead, you're a Draven, good. But you still have to cut through the tanks. You're not going to be the one going after Loki Dosi, pardon me. That's going to be Valley. So I'm looking at Valley to actually get into the backline, and so far it hasn't worked because of the sheer amount of CC that can stop the Camille from going in. So you need backup, and whether that be Lychee or Fox with just pressing R, somebody else needs to go in and take out this area too.
You need to have that peace of mind. Of course, right now the front gates are breached. Easy tower goes down here. Fox, I'd be very interested to see what level of AEP scaling they're currently at. Valley, though, in the wrong spot right now, on about half health, which does lead to the fact that it's an easy break into the inhibitor. So Valley doing what Valley needs to do. Inhibitor down at 25 minutes.
Baron about to go down in about 15 or about 30 seconds here. Actually, no. I'm looking at the wrong timer. It should be going down very, very shortly, 10 seconds. Hoosiers can look to actually try and turn as that Baron goes down. And again, the siege without the Baron is not that great from Purdue.
Don't they have an extra minute? Isn't it more?
30 seconds. It's 3.5 minutes, right? Okay, so 25 seconds. I can count. Faster math.
Remember, guys, don't try to do math on air, because when we try and do math on air, something like Purdue Gold makes us scratch our heads and go, where's all your gold? I don't know. Listen, at this point, we assume that 10K is just between everyone. They have done so well, and this is going to be that chance with that Hextech Soul. You're going to jump on Yama, who is supposed to be a massive front line, but at this point, you're a tin can getting booted down the road. A second inhibitor is going to draw. That's a massive shockwave and a massive ult coming out. A Loki Dosi, but really, what else can you do? You did everything right, but it was just too late, and that will be death for the Hoosiers, as that's a triple kill for Fox, and it is revenge for Game 1. Purdue Gold force us to a Game 3.
And overall, it only feels poetic that it is the Vygar once again.